Dude, I finally pulled the trigger on a new watch.
Did you?
Yep.
What'd you get?
I'm getting the Garmin 965.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Been waiting for it to go on sale.
Okay.
He sent me a little thing showing me that it was on sale recently, and I pulled the trigger on it.
So the link I sent you, you're like, yep, let's go.
Yep. I was ready for it, man. I wanted to get it like a month ago, but I knew that it was going to go on sale, so I was like, I'll be patient.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want to,
good.
but I will.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm
That'll be
excited. I like my Apple Watch, but I don't think it's the most accurate. So I'm excited to try something different.
Yeah, that's true. The run we went on, we
trail run?
compared.
Mhm.
Yeah, the trail run, and we compared, and mine was quite a. What was it? We say
Quite a bit off. You were like,
or so a mile.
it was a 6-mile run, and I think it was off by like 0.1 or 2,
Yeah.
which isn't drastic. But as you run more and more miles, that becomes
Adds
a lot
up.
more.
Yeah.
And it is kind of dramatic on the pace too. So like
That's true.
I think I'm running a 7:30 pace or something, and I might actually be running a 7:15.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
something.
you're going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're actually running faster?
Well, I am. If my watch is saying I'm going less distance, then
I
hey,
know. I'm
the math works out, dude. I'm just that much faster. Oh man, yeah.
Awesome. That'll be great.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm thinking about upgrading mine, but it's still the only thing this doesn't do that I wish it did would be maps.
Yeah.
When we start doing the longer.
Yeah, you won't need that until we're doing the real long runs.
Yeah, we'll see.
Go do the what's that one where you have to do like a scavenger hunt basically while you run.
Oh, the Barkley?
The Barkley, yeah, the Barkley Marathon.
Oh, I don't know if there are not many people that are successful at that one at all.
It's all about the adventure.
Yeah, that's quite the adventure.
Yeah, I don't know.
You need to. Have you watched the documentary yet? Oh, it's watch that first.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not something that I really aspire to do. I want to run races where I can go fast and win.
Yeah.
I don't really want to run a scavenger hunt race.
Yes, the loops are insane.
Yeah.
They are.
They have time cutoffs too, right?
Time cutoffs. You don't truly know the course.
Yeah.
And you have to go to different checkpoints and rip a page out of the book based off of your bib number. Then your bib number changes, and then the route changes.
Oh my goodness!
To get into the race, you have to submit a license plate from your home state, and then whatever Lazarus wants. Like one year, he asked for T-shirts. He asked for like button-up white shirts.
Wow!
As his admission fee.
Okay.
And I mean, but like the application fee's cheap. I think it's only like a couple bucks too. And then you have to figure out how to apply.
Yeah.
It's this whole thing, and he has a one master map, and then you have to make your own map off that map. And the directions are like, you're going to go past a big red oak, and then it's somewhere to the right of that big oak. Well, which way is right? So it's...
And which red oak, yeah.
And it's like just a big circle on the map. Like, the book is in this area next to some rocks. Well, then you look, and there could be 50 rocks.
Yeah. The thing that turns me off the most about that race is the fact that the guy who started it never has done it himself.
Correct.
Like, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah. A spoiler alert for the end. You're like, wow, has this guy done it? And he's like, no, he's never done it. But he is an older man. Well, he's an old man now, but the documentary is a little bit older. And like, this guy right here, he likes to play with people.
Yeah.
So
weird.
But anyway.
Anyways, well, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that watch getting here. I wish it was getting here sooner, but patience is a virtue, right?
That's it. Yeah. But it'll be nice to have it when you have it.
Yeah.
So, what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about today? Today, it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Yep. Last week,
I
got to hear your story. This week, get to hear Brian talk a bunch.
Yeah.
I'm less excited about this one than I was about your story.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I'm excited about this one. Mine's out of the way.
Yeah, perfect.
So, let's hear about you, Ryan.
Oh, man. Well, before we get into that, I want to thank our sponsors.
Yes.
Sofsocs. Sofsocs, they make some incredible toe socks. They're compression fit. They've got extra padding where you need it so you don't get hot spots on your feet. I don't know if it's scientifically backed, but I have definitely noticed less foot pain, stuff like that.
They've got doctors' testimonies on the website too.
Yeah.
I noticed. Yeah.
I know you were dealing with some, what were you dealing with?
Plantar fasciitis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it seems to be helping having those socks for sure to be able to kind of support my arch a little bit more.
Yeah, obviously they're not like a magic pill that's going to fix everything,
No.
but everything that'll help.
Yeah.
It's worth trying.
I've enjoyed them a lot. You can check them out on our link tree. There'll be a link in the description. If you click on it, it will be at the top. And then there's a discount code for you. Save 10% on a pair of socks. And it's Suffer10. So use that at checkout to be able to get you save you a few extra bucks. And support the show, support Sofsocs, local company here.
Yeah.
And they've been really good to us. So we love repping their stuff, and we're super thankful for their partnership.
Cool.
So,
yeah. Well, can't delay it anymore. Time to get into my story.
Let's start at the beginning. Where'd you grow up?
That's not the beginning, man.
No,
I was born. It's 9 pounds 10 ounces.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I was born and raised in Franklin, North Carolina, which is a small town in the mountains of North Carolina, a little southwest of Asheville. Everybody knows where Asheville is, but nobody knows where Franklin is. So we kind of like it that way, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's something nice about a small town, and you just don't want
Amen.
outsiders coming in ruining it.
Amen to that.
Yeah, grew up in the mountains in a small town. I'm an only child. I've got 2 amazing parents that, they raised me right, man. They did everything they could and sacrificed a lot so that I could grow up there in that small town and have a small country life rather than growing up in some big city somewhere.
Yeah.
I had a lot of family that lived in Franklin as well.
Okay.
My aunt and uncle had moved there before I was ever born, and my parents actually, I guess, visited Franklin the first time visiting them. So I had my aunt and uncle there, had a bunch of cousins and family there. After my parents moved there, I think my grandparents then moved there as well. So I was surrounded by family too, which was great. That's something that I've definitely thought about a lot more as I got older and had my own kids.
Mm-hmm.
The value of having so much family around for your kid's sake.
Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a kid, if you don't know that already.
Sure.
So the more help, the better. Yeah, along with taking a village to raise a kid, I think it also takes a good church family or church body. My parents, they started going to church probably before I was born, but I basically went to church my whole entire life with them. We went to a Lutheran church there in the small town we lived in, and I was raised in that church. They definitely instilled good Christian values in me from the get-go, and that became a foundation for my whole entire life. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, that's good. And plus with the being involved in the local church is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I think every family needs to have that involvement.
Yeah, so you came to know the Lord at an early age.
I did. Yep. Yeah, I go to my church, of course, and then I would go to friends' vacation Bible schools and stuff over the summer because normally in the summertime my grandparents would watch me, so my parents didn't have to put me in some kind of summer camp or something like that. So I would spend the summers with my grandparents, but if there was a week or something that I could go to vacation Bible school, well, that was fun for me and a break for my grandparents. So I would go to all sorts of vacation Bible schools around the area with other friends. And I think it was actually at one of those vacation Bible schools that I made the decision to accept Jesus.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a foundational part of my life and something that I don't take for granted, something that I'm trying to instill in my kid, get them used to going to church every day because that's what I want them to do as adults. And I think they're much more likely to do that if they see it now at a young age, and make, church is fun. It's not like a chore that we have to do on Sunday mornings. It's something that we want to do and enjoy going to, being a part of.
And on that note too,
Yeah.
statistically, I don't remember the exact statistics, but it's more than 0.5% or more than 50% of if the father is involved in church and regularly going to church and leads their home in that way, they're way more, the child is way more likely to also live out their faith later in life.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That explains a lot about broken homes across the country and broken kids. Man. Well, yeah. So aside from church, like I said, lived in a small town, and my parents, the house that I primarily grew up in, our house had about 5 acres of land with it, and I grew up doing outdoorsy things, being outside all the time. Um, I was a hyperactive, rambunctious little boy, and so my mom was like, "Just get out of the house, go burn off some of that energy." So I would just roam the mountainside, and so many days, so much time spent on that side of the mountain. Uh, those 5 acres were my paradise. And as I got older, um, I would venture out farther and farther from the house. My mom got us some walkie talkies, so that was our communication. I could go as far as the walkie talkies would reach. I think when I was 14 or 15, I got a dirt bike. I actually won it. It was pretty cool. We just popped in at this new motorsports dealership that was just opening. Maybe they'd been open. I don't know. I don't remember it completely, but we popped in at this motorsports place. They were having some kind of event going on, raffling off a little 50cc four wheeler, and you had to be present to win. So they get to the end of this raffle, call out the guy's name, not me, and we all just kind of stand around looking, and nobody steps forward. Nobody's like claiming it. So they give them, 3 tries. Anyone? Last call? Nothing. They're like, all right, we're picking another name. They drew a name.
Oh,
It's my
check it
name.
out.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was awesome. But we get inside, and I'm like 13, 14 years old, and I'm looking at this little 50cc four wheeler, like, man, that thing's tiny. And I really wanted a motorcycle, a dirt bike. So my parents were like, hey, this dirt bike over here is a little bit bigger in size. It's about the same price. Can we pay the difference and just get that? And so they worked some magic and worked out a deal with these people. And I ended up getting a little Kawasaki 110 dirt bike
awesome.
instead. Yeah, I was freaking beyond thrilled. Like I said, awesome parents. Cool. They were like even willing to try and work that out for me. Anyway, so I got this dirt bike, and man, once I had that dirt bike, I was a free range child. I was gone. That dirt bike was like my first sense of freedom, and I would ride around to my neighbors' houses. Everybody had a little bit of land out where we lived, so I would ride down the road to my neighbors' houses. I'd go spend time with our neighbors, and we had a few neighbors that were old ladies and old widows. So I would just go check in with them, and I'd like get to their house and call my house from theirs, let my mom know where I was because I was outside of our walkie-talkie distance by then. And I couldn't hear the walkie-talkie on the dirt bike.
Don't you look back and you're like, you could say the good old days of being able to do that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I wish our kids could experience.
Oh, I think about that all the time, man. Like, how crazy was it that my parents just let me ride around on a dirt bike that, sometimes I went miles away. Whether they knew it or not at the time, I went far sometimes.
It's tough now in today's world to do that.
Oh, and we also live in a different area. If we still lived, if I was still in a small town, I think it'd be a lot easier, a lot more comfortable. But yeah, the times are changing. So that's maybe things will change back. Yeah, but yeah, I was a free range boy in the mountains, and yeah, that was my first time getting to have that kind of freedom and responsibility too. If you wreck a dirt bike in the mountains by yourself, I didn't have a cell phone. I mean, you're on your own, so you got to figure stuff out. So there was times that I did wreck, and there was times that I almost wrecked, and there's times that I rode places I probably wasn't supposed to ride, but it was just a ton of good learning points that, I never thought that the dirt bike as a kid was gonna have so many life pointers, but man, it was great. Anyways, it's enough about dirt bike. So other than dirt bikes, I really enjoyed sports as a kid. I started playing t-ball when I was little, and then started playing soccer. Wasn't very good at t-ball, so I had to switch to something else. started playing soccer. I was much better at that, but still not the best. But I played soccer for like 7 or 8 years, from little kid up to uh, probably fourth or fifth grade, somewhere around there. And around that time frame is actually when I learned how to swim. I did not learn how to swim young by any means. Not for lack of trying either. My parents they put me in a swim lesson class like every summer for 3 or 4 years, and I just had some issue with getting my face wet. So I eventually, the summer before my fifth grade school year, I think is when I finally learned how to swim.
Wow.
And once I did, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So I stopped playing soccer and started swimming on our community swim team. And when I got into middle school, I swam on the swim team in middle school and started running cross country and track. And that's pretty much what I did from that point on was run and swim. I did try and play football my freshman year of high school, which was not the best idea. I had never played football before in my life, so I just wanted to try something new, and it was a good experience. But I realized quickly that football was not my sport.
Yeah.
I was trying to be a receiver, and I wasn't a very good catcher.
Oh, fair enough.
Um,
Were you a
any,
distance runner in track, or were you doing sprints?
yeah, I think I was always more of a distance, like 800 and up.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing the short sprints really. Um, I don't even know what the longest distance they had in middle school track was, but
Probably
I
a
was
2 mile.
I was probably running that
Yeah.
because I was doing cross country as well. And then once I got to high school, I know I was running the 800 and the mile.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really enjoyed those. Something else that I was doing around that same time frame in my life, outside of school, was I was a junior firefighter at our local volunteer fire department. My dad was a volunteer firefighter for I think 25 years or something. So I grew up around the firehouse, and I would go with my dad to meetings and stuff. So when I turned 13 or 14, whatever age they allow you to become a junior fireman, I immediately did that and started going there and trying to learn my own stuff instead of just being there around him. I was participating at that point, and I absolutely love that too. My dad always instilled the service mindset in me. I think he started in the Navy prior, and then he was a construction worker for a while. But he always, from the time that I was a baby, I think, was on this volunteer fire department. So that was something I always saw him doing. And like I said, volunteer fire department. He wasn't getting paid for it. He was just doing it because he wanted to contribute to his
Yeah.
community and serve others. So I definitely had that service mindset instilled in me, and I always told my parents that I wanted to be a soldier when I grew up. Uh, so when we'll get to that later, but that mindset never really changed, and I think it started with seeing how my dad acted.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so middle school and high school swam and ran cross country. Uh, I when I turned 15, I think 15 or 16, I'm not entirely sure. Whenever you can become an actual firefighter, I moved up from junior firefighter to real firefighter on the fire
Okay.
department. So I stuck with that, and I really enjoyed it. I just didn't feel like there was a future in it in my small town for me.
Yeah.
Firefighters, teachers, all those people, are notoriously underpaid
Yeah.
and overworked. Um, so I didn't really have that on my horizon as something I wanted to do long term, not there at least. Uh, but like I said, I had always wanted to be a soldier, and so the military was definitely where I was being called to. Going into high school, that was pretty much my goal. Was just I'm going to be in the military of some kind. I didn't know what branch. Uh, like I said, my dad was in the Navy, but I wasn't dead set on that initially. And as I got closer and closer to my senior year of high school, I started talking with the different recruiters, and you know, the branches all have their feuds with each other.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's like competitive.
It is, yeah. So I mean, you just talk to one guy from one branch, and then you talk to another, and they just talk crap about the first one. Um, so I really didn't get too caught up in which branch was best. I was trying to figure out what job I wanted to do.
That's smart.
Yeah, and I being active my whole life and just thinking that I wanted to do the coolest, baddest thing out there.
Yeah.
I landed on Navy SEALs. I was like, I want to be a Navy SEAL. Yeah.
I think every little boy goes through that. GI Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, my GI Joe phase never ended
Yeah.
though. So yeah, I thought that's what I wanted to do. So I landed on the Navy, and I started working towards getting that contract as I was in high school. You have to compete for a contract to become a Navy SEAL or any special program. You have to take a test at the ASVAB. You have to take a test to get into the military in general, but your test scores have to be high enough. And then your physical test, you have to score not just the minimums, but you have to score above and beyond to be considered for these special programs. Navy SEALs being like the most elite one. So you could have technically passing scores, but wouldn't be a competitive candidate if your scores weren't extremely high. And so that's what I started practicing for as I went through my high school years. But around that same time frame is where I met my wife. My wife and I met through a mutual friend, and it was actually kind of a funny story because I I dated her best friend first, and then I realized, oh, I'm dating the wrong girl. So me and that girl broke up, and a few months later, my wife and I started dating. So I may have driven that friendship apart a little bit, but it was worth it.
Yeah. There you go. End result's what we're after.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing against the other girl. She just wasn't the one for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, that was an interesting way to meet and then start dating. But once we started dating, man, we knew right then that we were both dating for the right reasons. Like we were dating for the long haul. I try and think about that now and think about how I'm going to explain that to my daughter or my daughters. Um, but just my oldest one is what I'm thinking about. She's already 8. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, when she turns 16 or something, or maybe
It's
younger,
coming
I
up.
don't know. Yeah, as the years go by, what am I going to tell her? And I think I just want to instill in her that same principle that my wife and I shared, was that we're dating for the right reasons. I had dated other people prior, not for the right reasons, just to date somebody,
Yeah.
just because you like them. But the true point of dating is to, in the end, marry that person. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the whole goal. You're dating to marry, and I feel like my wife 100% came into our relationship like that. Like, if I'm gonna invest any time into this relationship, I gotta know that it's gonna potentially go somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we were like very serious from the get go, and we went to church together. Every Wednesday night, we would go to youth group together, and just God was a foundation in our relationship, and that definitely made us, obviously stronger, but just more. It brought us closer together, not in a physical way, just like spiritually. I don't know.
Yeah.
Spiritually,
You're equally yoked, as the Bible says.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it was just so refreshing because, like I said, I had dated other girls, and the relationships were just all about hanging out, going to events together. I'm going to take you to the football game, and we're going to go sit together. But it's just it didn't have the same meaning behind it as my wife and I's relationship did. So it was very clear to me from the start that this was different.
Yeah.
Something was different about this relationship and this girl. Um, so she's my wife's a year older than me, so she was a senior. I was halfway through my junior year when we started dating, and we dated all through the summer. My wife actually joined the Navy as well. Her grandfather was in the Navy, and uh, that kind of inspired her to go in. She wasn't a star athlete, like she was going to get some major scholarship to go to college, and she didn't want to be in student debt for the rest of her life. So she was looking for alternative options to go to college eventually, but not have to, like I said, be in debt.
Sure.
So the military was a good option for her, and obviously you get paid to be in the military as well. So there's a lot of benefits to it. So that was the route that she chose, was to go in the Navy. Um, and so she left for the Navy the beginning of my senior year. We had been dating for like 6 months at that point, but I that's a it was weird at being a senior in high school and people just saying like, "Oh, your girlfriend is off in the Navy. Aren't you worried?" And I wasn't. I wasn't worried a single bit.
Yeah.
I was proud of her, and there wasn't a doubt in my mind that we were going to be just fine through that whole process
Yeah.
of her being away, and us being separated. And I think that she felt the exact same way about me. Like we just, if anything, it just drew us closer together.
Yeah.
And so she makes it through, or she goes through her boot camp and recruit training and everything, and she moves on to whatever her next step was in the Navy, going to training for her job that she ended up getting. And she comes home for Christmas, and that's when we got engaged.
Oh, awesome.
So I was about
Christmas
halfway.
engagement.
Yeah, I was about halfway through my senior year of high school and got engaged. Again, people calling us crazy.
You guys are
for-
doing it like how they used to do it back in the
yeah,
40s.
yeah, old school, man. Yeah, high school sweethearts and date and get married young. I wouldn't change it though, man. That's something that so many people criticize us for all throughout. I mean, school, and then when I was in the Navy, people would criticize us and say, "Oh, your relationship's not gonna last. You're just gonna be a statistic." And again, we were able to fall back on God as our foundation and say, "No, we're different. We built
Yeah.
this relationship differently, and I I'm not gonna be another number. Not just gonna be a statistic."
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, we got engaged in December, and then I finished out my senior year, worked for a little while as a graduate, and then I turned 18 in April. We got married in May,
Wow.
and I moved to Florida to be with her, where she was stationed down here in Jacksonville. Um, so a lot of big changes happen in that time frame. Like you said, doing it the old way, just growing up fast.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was definitely ready for it. I didn't want to. I saw other people graduate high school from her grade and just hang around town and kind of be uh, like a deadbeat, just
Yeah.
trying to figure out, not necessarily a deadbeat, but just trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. Just they seem to have no direction, and I didn't. I didn't want to be like that, and I felt like I had a direction and a purpose. It just was going to take a leap of faith to get there,
Yeah.
and so that's what we did. We took a leap of faith and um, got married young, and I moved. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
it was great. Uh, During all this, from the time of us getting engaged and then getting married and stuff, I was still competing for that contract to be a Navy SEAL, and I was struggling, man. I was struggling with the sit up portion of
Yeah.
that physical test. Everything else I was doing pretty good on, but I could meet the minimums for the sit ups. But as far as getting a high score and being competitive for it, it wasn't looking good for me. So between me not performing well on it and being engaged and about to get married at that time, I just got to thinking a lot. Is this really what I want to do? You hear all the horror stories of Navy SEALs and their relationships not ending well. Um, yeah, I didn't want to be a statistic due to my job.
Yeah.
So, and I was struggling, struggling to get the job in the first place.
Sure.
So I started looking at the other options, and there's 5 different special warfare programs in the Navy. There's Navy SEALs, SWIC, which is small boats, Navy diver, um, what is the other one? Oh, EOD, and then rescue swimmer. Uh, and I just went down the list of, Navy SEALs isn't working out. I don't have any interest in small boats. I don't want to be a diver. I definitely don't want to get blown up doing explosive ordnance disposal. So rescue swimmer sounds cool. It's still something specialized, still something that this advanced fitness test that I've been working towards is going to be applicable to. And I could save lives. Man, that's awesome. This is like the best of all the things that I want to do. I want to go serve and help people and still do something that's cool and specialized that not everybody gets to do. So that's what I landed on, was rescue swimmer. So this is all happening at the same time as me getting engaged and then getting married. By that point, I think I had solidified a contract and gotten picked up for this. So it was just a waiting game. So I got married in May, and then in September I left for the Navy and started my journey towards becoming a rescue swimmer.
Oh wow, that's tough.
Yeah, it was. It was like a lot of big changes happening at once where you go from, I'm a single guy working a job, and then I'm married and now living with my wife, and now I'm married and living apart from my new wife. It kind of sucked, but it also made our relationship a lot stronger. I think,
Sure.
distance makes the heart grow fond.
Yeah.
And it put some strain on our relationship early on, but we were both anticipating it because she had just gone through,
Yeah.
recruit training and her schooling and stuff to get to where she was at. Um,
You
so
just broke the odds.
yeah,
Statistically, those don't work out.
no, statistically, and I heard that, man. I heard that all through my Navy career as a junior sailor. Going through training, they're like, "Oh, you guys don't get married." And then when I told people that I was already married, they're like, "Oh, that's not gonna last. That's not gonna
Yeah.
work." Man, thanks for the vote of confidence, guys.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, I'm just being realistic. It never works out." Okay, well,
But here we are.
maybe for you, salty guy.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
but yeah. So I left the Navy. I was gone for my training was about 2 years long. Only a year of that, I think, maybe a year and a half of that was away from home at the time, which was Jacksonville, Florida. I spent time in recruit training, of course, in Chicago, and then came down here to Pensacola for about a year's worth of schooling and rescue swimmer school and everything. And then after that, my final phase of training was in Jacksonville, Florida. So it was convenient that I got to go back to living at home with my wife and do the final piece of my training there. And after completing that, I got to get stationed in Jacksonville. It worked out. The Navy did a pretty decent job at keeping us stationed together as much as they could, even though we didn't have kids or anything. So they weren't obligated to. Once you have kids, they have some rules in place that try and keep you, co-located. But before that, it's really a roll of the dice, and we were incredibly blessed to get those stations that were right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that is nice.
Um, yeah. So while I was in my training pipeline, though, I think just before I left Pensacola, we found out that we were pregnant. My wife was pregnant with our firstborn, my daughter. Um, by the time I got over to Jacksonville for that final piece of my training, that about that time frame is when she was born.
Oh,
So
that perfect
yeah, it was
timing.
perfect timing. Again, I was over there. I was there for her birth and got to have a few weeks off to spend with my wife and newborn baby.
That's great that the Navy took care of you like
It
that.
it worked out very, very smooth. Yeah, couldn't have asked for better there. Um, let's see where we at. So yeah, my daughter's born. That was another incredible life change. My wife and I have been married for like 2 years at that point. Uh, no, 2 years? Only like a year and a half at that point.
Okay.
So yeah, we got married young, had a child young. I think I was still 19 when my when my
Oh
first
wow.
daughter was born. Um, my wife being older than me, she was not a teen mom. She was in her 20s. But
Okay.
yeah, that was something again everybody would point out and be like, "Oh man, you're so stupid. You're wasting away your childhood, having a kid yourself." I don't look at it like that at all, man.
No.
I
Such a blessing.
I couldn't be happier to be a dad, and I'm so grateful that we did have our first daughter so young because there's as you get older, other members of your family die and move on, and
Yeah.
there's parts of there's people in my family that my first daughter got to meet and actually get to know that my two youngest kids either didn't get to meet or didn't get to know well because
Yeah.
they were so little. Um, so I'm really grateful for that. That my oldest daughter she shares some of those memories of those people with us
Yeah.
and can kind of let that let those people's legacy live on in her.
Sure.
I think that's a really really cool thing that came from having a daughter so young.
So,
Um,
so you have your daughter that's born. You're currently in the pipeline for rescue swimmer, and you're in the thick of it with your training.
Yeah, so we finished our final phase of training, like learning how to fly in the platform that we're going to be in. Your first phase of training was learning how to be in the Navy,
Sure.
recruit training, and then you go through the rescue swimmer school and air crew candidate school, which is all just learning how to um, be a backseat person in an aircraft, and then how to be a rescue swimmer. And then you go into A school, learning the technical side of things. Depending on what your job is, there's different technical things. So we go through that, and then the final phase is actually learning how to fly in my case, the MH-60 Romeo helicopter, which is like a Black Hawk, but the Navy's version.
Sure.
Um, and it was a blast. It was a ton of fun. Those helicopters are big. If you've ever been around helicopters before, like for medevacs or something like that, it's crazy how much bigger an H-60 is
Oh
from
yeah.
one of those.
I've seen it from a distance. They're
Yeah,
impressive.
they're massive. So it's just an exhilarating rush to even get to be in it, and then you develop, or they develop you to be a part of that crew, and you realize how much responsibility and um, yeah, just responsibility that you have for
Sure.
the aircraft, for the crew, for anything that happens in the back of that aircraft surrounding you. Um, so that was really really cool. That was probably where I saw like the most growth in myself.
Sure.
Also had a lot of growth happening at home with a new kid.
Yeah.
um, but that was a lot of fun. And from there, I got stationed at my first squadron over in Jacksonville as well. Our first deployable squadron. Um, Deployable just meaning that you're no longer in training. You're gonna go out on ships and go do real missions and
Be ready to
go
go.
places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and that was cool. Something that happened to me during that time, I guess, looking back, I didn't really realize it in the moment, but looking back, I realized that I got complacent after I went through rescue swimmer school and did that really hard thing, or what I worked out to be a really, really hard thing in my mind. Looking back, I'm like, it wasn't that hard. It was physically demanding, but it wasn't that hard. Um, and it was and wasn't at the same time. There's people that go through way harder stuff than that,
Sure.
but it was designed to break you down and make things challenging. Anyways, once I got past that, I had this chip on my shoulder. Thought that I was done learning or done training. Obviously, I still had other training ahead of me, so I knew I had to pass those things. But I was really good in school growing up, like A's and B's student. I would pass tests even if I didn't study for them. I just was lucky, probably. um,
I'll pause you there for like
yeah,
a second because I want to ask you a question.
yeah,
Uh, did you feel like there was a time in your training where you were like, I don't know, because like obviously you were comfortable in the water and you were a rescue swimmer, so like those two kind of go hand in hand. But was there
yeah.
ever a point in your training where you're like, I don't know that I can do this. This is, or was it all kind of, I don't want to like discredit the program, but like easy because it's not an easy program. But was there ever a point where like your physicalness just kind of stepped out and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna have to really lock in here and really try to dig deep in order to get through an obstacle? Or was there like the little things, like some firefighters could be great firefighters, but then they get in a confined space and they're like, oh, I'm panicking.
Yeah.
Was there like a weakness
Yeah,
that got
thank you.
exploited?
Thank you for asking that. I kind of flew through all my training stuff.
Oh, that's okay. I just like sit on this for a second.
Yeah, in rescue swimmer school, week one's, our version of Hell Week. It's nothing like that. It's not anywhere near that extreme or hard.
Sure.
But that's the week that they're beating you the hardest. They're putting you through the toughest physical stuff, trying to just get people to quit.
Yeah.
Um, that first week wasn't as hard as I anticipated it being. Looking back, because you work up this thing in your mind that's rescue swimmer school, and oh, this is going to be some big challenge. Then you get there and you're like, okay, it's not that bad. However, the catch of that is that as you go through rescue swimmer school, I think it was 5 weeks when I went. Every week, the standards get higher.
Yeah.
So your physical test, if you had to do 4 pull-ups initially, now you got to do 5, then you got to do 6, or by the end you're expected to do 12 or something.
Sure.
So they're expecting a lot of physical growth in your abilities over a 5-week period. And that was daunting to me to think about, like, oh man, I got to improve a lot in this amount of time. And yeah, there was definitely some times where I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to give it everything I've got.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the real point there is number one, proving to yourself that you can do more than you believe you can, and having that never quit attitude. Like
Yeah.
I'm just going to do everything I can. We would do underwaters uh, repeatedly in the pool, and that would get a lot of people.
What's an underwater?
Exactly what it sounds like. You push off from one end of the pool underwater, and you don't pop up until you touch the wall on the other side.
Oh, okay.
So you get a deep breath and you go.
Okay.
Doing one of those as a swimmer, doing one of those, no problem. Doing two of those in a row, with very little break in between, that's more challenging. You do 10 of those in a row with little break in between, people are starting to pop up before they touch the wall because it's a lot.
Yeah.
People are blacking out in the water because they don't want to pop out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never blacked out myself, not fully at least. I mean, I got to the wall before and been starting to see the stars.
Yeah.
But no, there was people that halfway through their underwater would just go limp in the water, and the instructors jump in, grab them, and pull them back out, get the water out of their
They're basically
lungs.
trying to get you to drown.
They're pushing you to your limits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, those people, just because that happened to them, they didn't necessarily fail. That was just that's the end of that evolution for them.
Right.
But yeah, so the underwaters, I mean, there was a lot of challenging aspects. There's one thing called the parachute tread.
Okay.
Where we got a parachute in the water, and the whole class is circled around the parachute, holding on to it. It's kind of like the thing in kindergarten or in PE, where you lift the parachute up and you pull it down. It's just like that. We're all holding onto the outside of the parachute. We got our fins on, and we're holding the parachute up high above our heads, treading water. Actually, I don't know if we had our fins on or not, or if we were just treading water without fins. Either way, it's challenging. You're holding the parachute up high above your head out of the water, and everybody's got to work together because if one person starts to let it down, then it starts pulling on the other people. So that was a really, really hard evolution that would get some people to drop out. I mean, some people quit while we were doing that.
Do they tell you how long you're going to be doing it for?
They don't know. Most of the time, they don't tell you how long you're going to do anything. Even like lunges. So they have limits. So if we were doing a physical test, or not test, but just physical fitness training, and we're going to do lunges, well, their paper says that they can't do any more than 20 lunges or whatever the number may be.
Sure.
Because they have their restrictions. But 20 lunges can take you 2 minutes, or 20 lunges can take you 20 minutes. That is where they had free reign of how long something would take. So it'd be down,
hold,
and you just sit there and wait for them to say the magic word. Up.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're up. But they'd be like, we're going to count to 10 on the way down. 1, 2, 3, and you're just like, oh my gosh, they're just torturing you for this long period of time.
Yeah. Creative ways to make it harder.
Yeah, well, and that's the not only a physical challenge, but a mental challenge, because you don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you don't know. We do push-ups like that too, where you go down and you're just holding it, or halfway down, and you're like, okay, man, just let's get this over with.
Yeah. Right.
So I actually really enjoyed the runs that we would do
at
Rescue Swimmer school, because it was straightforward. Hey, we're gonna go for a run. Again, we didn't always know how long the run was gonna be.
Sure.
But I knew there was an end to it, and you could just go.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was definitely times in Rescue Swimmer school that I wasn't sure that I could complete the obstacle in front of me, but I never gave up or never thought about giving up.
Yeah, that's good.
It was like, I've got to do this. I'm going to do it as best as I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to try my hardest.
Yeah.
I want to do I may not be the best, but I want to do the best that I can at this thing.
That's good.
And I think that's eventually what got me through it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The Rescue Swimmer School, kind of in a brief nutshell.
Yeah, and then the rest of my schooling, I get over to our fleet squadron, where I'm actually going to be deployable, and that is where this complacency sunk in. So I made it through all this hard training at rescue swimmer school and through all these challenges that I wasn't sure if I could do. And that's, I guess, just what happened in the back of my mind. I mean, it wasn't a conscious thought that I thought, oh, I'm good now. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to try. And I noticed that I was doing worse in our classes and stuff after rescue swimmer school. I wasn't necessarily striving to be like top of the class. Um, I just didn't have that drive, I guess, and I don't know why that was, but I wasn't pushing myself.
Sure.
And so when I got to my fleet squadron, you're on a timeline from the day that you get there to get qualified to do your job. So you've been through like 2 years of training and you're still not fully qualified to do your job,
Yeah.
which sounds really silly, but they want to make sure that you know how things operate in the fleet. So you know how to do everything technically, but you don't know how to manage that in a real world scenario, maybe. So the training that we go through at our final squadron is really the one that makes you who you are as an air crewman, as a rescue swimmer in my case, but air crewman just being as the guy that flies in the back of the aircraft.
Yeah.
And so me and another guy showed up at about the same time, so we were able to go through this training, this final training stuff together. And like I said, I wasn't. I probably could have buckled down and pushed myself through it in a pretty quick speed and done really well with it, but I just wasn't pushing myself in that way and getting complacent. And I think that that's really where my story started to turn from like a hard charging go getter
Yeah.
who wants to be the best at everything to somebody that just kind of slacks off and is like I guess casual about things, you
Yeah.
know, just kind of being there, but not really trying. And so I eventually did get qualified. I mean, I did everything that I needed to do, but it wasn't at a high level.
Sure.
Um, and eventually, when I was just skipping through some years, but nothing really happened for a couple years. When I was 22 years old, I guess it all came to a head when I was unfaithful with my wife. Um, that changed my life in that instant. Uh, I made a mistake. I messed up. I knew I messed up instantaneously,
Yeah.
and I immediately talked to my wife. We that was the hardest time of my life, man. But like I said, it set my life back on a good course, I think.
Yeah.
Because of how I handled myself after that, and because of how my wife was willing, able to forgive me.
Forgiveness, man.
Yeah, my wife is incredible, and she forgave me almost immediately and helped me work through everything that followed. Um, and we went through, I mean, a hard patch, but it was a good slap in the face for me
Yeah.
to go, man, how did you let this happen? Like, how did you get to this point? Um,
What was the buildup?
what do you mean?
Like, what
How did I
what
get to
was
that
going
point?
on in your life for that to become?
I think it was just a culmination of, I guess I call it like that tough guy mentality. Like I made it through rescue swimmer school. I'm some hotshot tough guy.
Yeah.
I don't need to try hard anymore. My wife's gonna love me just because I'm a rescue swimmer, not because of who I am at home. And who that guy is a guy that doesn't do the dishes, that does the bare minimum. Just not a good husband.
Sure.
All around. And then you can tell yourself lies that, oh, I'm unappreciated. She doesn't love me like she did, or something like that. Well, you're
Yeah.
unappreciated because you don't do anything.
What did that healing part look like? So the deed was done and you approached your wife, but the biggest step right there was the fact that you went to your wife and you told her and dealt with it instead of trying to run from it, right?
Yeah,
So
I
like,
knew
what
that
did the
that problem had to be dealt with head on. There was no other option. I I did I did and do love my wife, and I
absolutely,
wanted that to. I tried to make it abundantly clear to her that I messed up. I know I messed up. I don't want to ruin everything that we've built together.
yeah,
Our foundation was strong. Somewhere along the way, like you said last week, I became a lukewarm Christian and stopped thinking about God every day and started just thinking about how to, you know, how to make myself happy in this world,
yeah,
um, in worldly ways, and just lost sight of who I was,
yeah,
um, who I am. I just packed on this baggage for no reason.
mm-hmm.
And I can't pinpoint anything to one specific incident that was like, oh, this happened. And then
Sure,
I did something. It was like, no, it just led up to that. And so, yeah, I immediately talked with her, and, she agreed to go to counseling with me, marriage counseling. And that was very helpful. Um, and we just leaned into God, man, really. I mean, we went to marriage counseling with a Navy chaplain, and then we were probably still going to church, being a lukewarm Christian, still go to church and act like you're a Christian
yeah,
every week, but we really started going to church and taking notes, and then trying to get in with small groups and get connected with other people that we could do life with and have somebody to lean on if or talk to if anything was going on. And that helped a ton.
yeah,
But because of my wife's forgiveness and our commitment to each other, we worked through it. And that is when my life changed back to Ryan's a go-getter. Ryan wants to achieve high things and
yeah,
be the essence of what we want to do here at Suffer Up. I want to
yeah,
have a strong spiritual, mental, and physical life.
yeah.
Um,
I'll sit on that like just a second.
yeah,
Are you talking about, the fact that your wife was quick to forgive? Um, this isn't my story. This is your story, but there's been times as well. Like, shout out to the strong warrior wives out there that your husband's going through something. If you can't find yourself able to forgive, just remind yourself of the cross and that Christ died for all sin. And that's a wonderful example of how gracious your wife was to forgive you and grow. Because it's not an uncommon thing in today's world. And the fact that your wife was willing to step one step at a time in good faith towards the commitment you guys made ultimately to God
yeah,
to be able to heal that. And if you're going through this exact thing right now, this is an opportunity for you guys to grow closer together and forgive and but get the like what you said, get that help that's needed, because usually
yeah.
there's something that's missing there that would cause these types of things to happen. So it's an amazing testimony that you guys were able to really work through that and come out on the other side. And I've told other people this before. You now have a token to be able to help somebody who's going through the same thing. I can't help somebody as much as you could in that
Yeah.
exact situation
Yep.
because you've lived it, you've been through it, you know what it looks like. And so don't look
Much
at it.
as you want to look back and regret, and I
Yeah,
do
of
have regrets,
course.
but I'm here for a reason, and God's going to use your mistakes for the good.
Yeah,
I mean, we are human. We are going to make mistakes. Obviously, we try and limit that. Uh, but when you do make them, if you give that up to God, it is amazing what He will turn around and do with a mistake,
absolutely.
and how He can just He forgives instantaneously too. I mean, He will forgive and be like, we're gonna make this a good thing, and not a good thing, but like we're gonna bring some value out of this
Yeah.
that you can use. Maybe not right this second. So if you're going through something and you don't feel like, man, I'm never gonna see any good come from this, just hold on, be patient.
Yeah.
Might be 10 years down the road, but some way somehow you'll be like, man, God's turning that thing around
Yeah.
for the good.
There's hope there.
Yeah.
There is hope. It might feel rough and, you know, right now, but there is hope there if you're
And
willing
it,
to.
and it felt rough when I was
Yeah.
going through it, man.
Oh,
I mean, I felt all the emotions, all the hot topic words these days, like
yeah.
anxiety and depression and
Yeah.
all that. I mean, I it was incredibly difficult for me to see a light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
see a positive ever coming out of this again. Um, but I try to keep my eyes on God and just know that I'm going to do the next right thing. I'm going to, whatever that looks like, I'm going to do the next right thing. I'm just going to trust that you've got a plan for me.
Yeah.
I've got a beautiful little girl, beautiful wife. We're gonna get through this.
Yeah. And being in that state of complete humility after a mistake, man, it definitely checks you for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So from that point, I started acting like myself again. I would say,
Yeah.
where I was trying, I wanted to grow, and I was working hard at work, not just being lukewarm there either. Trying to be a good dad, trying to be a good husband, trying to be good at work, like be a good employee and a good service member to
Yeah.
my country. And I feel like I grew a ton during that period. I mean, that's probably the time that I really grew the most in my life is after that. And I ended up uh, doing so well at work that they put me in a position to be the search and rescue petty officer at my
Oh, nice.
command. So I was in charge of our whole search and rescue program, and we had an inspection coming up that year that I was gonna run and lead, um, which is not an easy thing to do necessarily. You're responsible and accountable for all the guys below you at that point and how they perform on this search and rescue evaluation. So I took a lot of pride in that. Kind of dove into work, but tried to keep that work life balance that we were talking about last week with staying present at home when I was at home, but being
Right.
really present at work. And it was great. That was my favorite time in the Navy all around, was being the search and rescue petty officer there. I had responsibility, and I feel like I earned it, and
Yeah.
I worked. I feel like I did really well in that position. So I really enjoy that. I'm grateful for that opportunity that my chiefs and the people above me gave me to do that, because I feel like that was so many lessons were learned during that time
Yeah.
that would have never been learned had I not had that position. So that was awesome. And then from there, after that evaluation happened and we passed, we did great. That was pretty much the end of my time at that command. It was time for me to go to shore duty, and shore duty just means that you're not going to be deployed. You're still in the Navy doing work, but you're not going to be deployed out to a ship anymore. So my shore duty, I came over here to Pensacola to Whiting Field, where I was a instructor up at one of the helicopter training squadrons. Uh, you're not really instructing other people that do my job. You're instructing new pilots as they learn how to fly in the back or fly a helicopter. You're in the back for a few flights with them, doing things that they need an aircrewman for, and just teaching them in general the crew concept, as we call it, where there's more people in this aircraft than just you two pilots, and you have to think about that and be not just aware that there's somebody back there, but that person has just as much say in the crew
Yeah.
as you do, even though they're not touching the stick. If they're not comfortable with something, you can't do it. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that and getting to instill that in the new pilots coming up, that like, hey, you're not just responsible for you now, you're responsible for us. And we may not be officers, we may not have the same rank as you, but in the aircraft, there is no rank. If the guy in the back isn't cool with it, then we don't do it.
Yeah,
Just like if one of the pilots isn't cool with it, we don't do it.
we touched on that too previously, but like the go no go attitude
Yeah.
too. Like it takes a team to
Mhm.
operate an apparatus of any kind, whether in the air or on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a really good point. I bet that was fun to be able to sit there with like these new young pilots, even though they're
Yeah.
officers. You're like,
Yeah, and they all kind of have that chip on their shoulder too, like,
Yeah,
oh,
of
I'm an
course.
officer. I made it through college and then through
Oh, look at me.
OCS or whatever, and I've got this fancy little gold bar on my shoulder. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, you're
That's cool,
nothing.
Yeah, or the same team
I
though.
was happy to knock them off that pedestal.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, but yeah, really, it's same team, same fight. I want them to go forward in their career and be the best pilot that they can be. And my experience at my fleet squadron, the good pilots that I had out there, the best pilots out there were the ones that treated us as aircrewmen like we were one of them, not necessarily an officer, but that we all loved and respect each other the same amount in that aircraft.
Yeah,
That if I said I didn't want to turn right, they wouldn't turn right.
yeah,
I mean, because they trusted
yeah,
and they trusted our other guys. Like that, the best pilots just had so much trust and respect for us, and so and likewise we did for them. If they said we need to go right, all right, sir, let's go.
yeah.
I'll follow you anywhere, that kind of thing. So, um, it was an honor for me to get to instill that in some
That's
people
cool.
here. Um, yeah. So while I was stationed over here at Whiting Field, we had really great hours here. It
Yeah.
was shore duty, or I'm sorry, sea duty, you work a lot and you're gone a lot on the boat. Shore duty, and you get normally you get a much better lifestyle. And the shore duty that I was at was a great lifestyle. We worked from I think 7 in the morning to 2 every day. We
Oh,
were
nice.
cutting out around 2, so I had a ton of extra time, a ton of just drive time too, because I was an hour away. So I had a lot of time to think and a lot of time to just sit around. And I got bored. And so instead of doing something negative with my life, like I may have done in the past, I chose a positive outlet and started looking for how can I make money? Like, how can I make more money and just do something that I enjoy doing? And my wife and I bought a house over here that had about an acre of land. And so I rented some machines and started clearing the land here. And I'm like, man, I love this. This running these machines is fun.
Yeah,
And so I was like, maybe I'll do that on the side. I'll just start renting out my services and uh, helping people out with whatever they need with machine work. And I did. Since I had so much free time, it was really easy for me to find the time to do that. And like, oh, I get off work and go straight to this other thing that I just called it a side gig at the time, a little
yeah.
hustle. Um, and that took off. I really took off. I started getting so much work that I was taking like days off of Navy to do these
Oh,
other
wow.
jobs. And I was like, man, maybe I should just consider this full time. And so when it came time for me to get out of the Navy, that's what I did. I got out and I started my current landscaping and excavation business full time. My wife and I started it, and we did great with it. I mean, for the first few years, it was outstanding for just jumping out of the Navy and into it. We just had a blast with it. It was so much fun.
Yeah,
Um, Still is fun, but it
yeah.
was so much fun those first 2 years. Just
An
like
exciting
so much to
time,
learn. It was
Yeah,
exciting, yeah, and we were just having a blast and surviving.
yeah.
It was making a living. I wasn't doing anything crazy, but we were making a living and surviving. So
Those times in life when you're like not making a ton of money, but you're making it,
yeah,
and you're in love and all this stuff, and
and
it's
like
like,
you're proud
yeah.
and proud of what you're building at the same time,
And
and
you look back like, man, those were fun times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, during that time, my second daughter was born, and so that threw a whole nother
Oh
wrench
yeah.
in the mix. And yeah, it was again just so fun times. And since that initial phase of getting out of the Navy and starting this, and like since that has all kind of settled down some, um, we've fell into more of a groove. We're still running the business, and my wife's working again. But last year we just had our third child, a son. So
Yeah.
now we've got, excuse me, now we've got 3 kids, and I feel like we're finally starting to settle back down into a groove again because
Yeah.
new baby comes and everything's hectic again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a blast. It's like the craziest, most stressful time of your life, but also so much fun.
Oh yeah.
You're not getting much sleep at night, feeding babies, changing diapers all the time. But
But you only have this time for so
yeah,
long.
I wouldn't trade it for a thing.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at now, man. Got 3 kids,
That's awesome.
and things have settled down a little bit, but now we started this, and we're
Yeah.
looking forward to whatever's next.
So, two like closing
Yeah.
questions. What advice would you give to a young guy that's listening to this who's thinking about joining up the Navy
Mm.
or maybe potentially wants to become a rescue swimmer? What would be your biggest advice to that eager 18-year-old that wants to be a superhero and go join the Navy in one of the special operations divisions? What little bit of advice would you give him as he's prepping for his journey?
Figure out why you want to do it. Figure out your reason why. I don't really think there is a wrong reason. Like if your reason is because you want to go in the military so that you can afford college later, that's fine. That's a perfectly fine reason. Whatever that why is, remember that and hold it dear to your heart as you're going through training, because there's going to be challenging times as you're going through that you need to remind yourself why you're there. My
Yeah.
why at the time was I wanted to help people and I wanted to make my wife and child proud.
Yeah.
So yeah, figure out your why and hold on to that.
Second question. What advice would you give to a couple that's listening to this right now who are going through a rough patch in their marriage or relationship? One piece of advice for the man and one piece of advice based off of what your wife
Yeah.
and you have gone through that you give to the wife.
So I would say to both of them, don't give up and be quick to forgive. To the man, I would say step up.
Yeah.
Be the man that called to be by God. Be a man of action. And to the woman, I would say be that rock to
Yeah.
that man. Obviously, women have needs too that need a shoulder to cry on, whatever it may be. But when a man has a woman that is that rock to them, it's just that guy can do anything knowing
Yeah.
that she's there in his corner.
Yeah, they are our greatest helpmeet.
Yep.
Yeah. That's sound advice for sure.
And don't, to both of them again, don't be afraid to seek outside help together.
Yes.
Don't ever go to counseling individually. In my opinion, if you're married, you go to counseling together.
Yeah.
You're a team.
Yeah.
Even if one person's struggling with something, don't send that person to counseling alone.
Yeah.
You guys find a way to go together.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, you have a very, at the time, it was tough, but you have a special way now to be able to hopefully help a couple at some point, you and your wife be able to share the things you guys went through and know like it's real, it happens, but it's time to step up, lead, and move towards healing,
Yep.
if you will. So it's phenomenal.
You can overcome anything with God.
That's it. Sound advice, Ryan. This is another awesome episode in the shop here at Suffer Up. So Suffer Up. Ryan, thanks so much for your story, man.
Yeah, man.
It was awesome. Tune in again next Monday for another episode of Suffer Up with Nate and Ryan. And stay tuned for more upcoming things that we've got planned. And we're so honored and blessed to be able to sit here and share our stories with you guys, as our mission is to encourage and lead others to level up in life with an emphasis on spiritual, mental, and physical well-being. Check out Sofsocs. Get you a pair. Our sponsors. Thanks so much for listening to this episode.
Thank you, guys.